We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Hey, what's up, and welcome to Eddie's Wall. Today we have a very special episode for you guys. Well, first off, we are live on the TransWorld Facebook, so feel free to write in your comments and questions. But today we are here with former pro snowboarder Wille Yli-Luoma. Wille, how are you?
Good, are you?
Good. Wille had a very long, successful career. You know, started off, was one of the original members of the Forum 8, the kind of infamous team, and then left to pursue a really long career on K2 snowboards, and now has started a coffee empire, as you will soon see. He started Heart Coffee Roasters, right?
Yeah, Heart Coffee.
And we are now, he has 2 coffee shops, and this is the actual roasting factory. What do you call it?
Roastery.
Roastery. Oh, roastery. Okay. So let's talk about, you know, you're from Finland, and you originally, you know, got into snowboarding. How did you get into snowboarding? And coming from Finland, you were one of the, I feel like, first generations of kids. Now it's kind of known that a lot of good riders come out of Finland, but how was it being such a young kid coming to get recognized from Finland?
I didn't think about it that much at that age, I guess. We were really, all of our friends were riding Dalma.
Yeah.
And so it was like, yeah, Ami, Yoni, both Yonis, and it was just like the place we go ride, and you just try to do better tricks than the other one, or just, you know, like, not in a friendly, competitive way, and you really didn't care, and it was just more about, I don't know, just having a good time.
Yeah.
And one day, Ami was like, hey, do you want to snowboard? You know, you can have this hammer snowboard for free. And I'm like, really? And I remember I got it, and then after that, everything kind of changed, because it's like, oh, I was a kid who got the free snowboard. Now, like, all my friends were like, they wanted to show off, and it became all of a sudden more competitive.
Right.
But, you know, then that kind of took off, and I got asked to go on a snowboard trip. So I went to Verbier, and in Verbier, I met Ben Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
He worked for Airwalk at the time, and he was like, hey, if you want to go to Mount Hood, I'll buy you a ticket, and I'll buy you a plane ticket, but you gotta wear Airwalk clothes. And I was like, sure, like, why not?
Yeah.
And he bought me a ticket, but he put Romy's last name, Romy Thornton.
Yeah.
So it was like, and he spelled my first name wrong. So I was at the airport trying to get on the plane, and I'm like, hey, this is my ticket. And they're like, no way. And somehow I talked myself on the airplane with a completely different name. And I came here with a one-way ticket, which you can't have a one-way ticket to the US.
Right.
And went to Mount Hood, and that's kind of how it all started.
Right.
And I was there, like, Curtis shot a sequence of me, and then that got ran in TransWorld, and some other photos with silence ads, and it was kind of like, okay.
And what year was that again?
I don't remember. It was
Like 93 or something? No, 95?
No.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out
maybe
there.
like 98 or 97 or something like that.
Okay.
No, like 96.
Yeah, 96 because I met you in 2000 and you were pro like while I was coming up as a kid.
Yeah, I think it was 96.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, here's Justin Gunson. Do you still snowboard every now and then?
Not much, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I went up to Mount Hood twice this year, split boarding. So not actually on Mount Hood, just on the side of Mount Hood.
Yeah.
I guess I got spoiled with the conditions over the years, and it really needs to be like perfect in order for me to get out of the bed and pay for a lift ticket.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just I guess I had so many years of good riding that if I can go up to Mount Baker, I will.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Mount Hood is kind of, it's not that interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you end up, so you were part of the original Forum 8, which is still talked about to this day, you know, by everybody as being this super, you know, legendary, influential team. And then kind of out of nowhere, or what it seemed like to the people behind the scenes, you left the Forum 8 right in its prime and went to K2. You know, what was that all about? Like, you know, because I feel like most people think of it being on the Forum 8 in that time, you know, 1998, the biggest videos, best team, and then you're like, you know what, I'm out of here, I'm gonna go ride for K2.
Well, I kind of feel like I got on the team same way.
Mm-hmm.
it was like, I was filming with Mac Dog for a decade, and I was on Silence, and I was riding with a lot of the forum guys.
Yep.
And Silence was pretty rocky at the time. You know, it was just kind of like a company that might go out of business.
Yep.
And it was fun. We had, you know, I just do my thing. I didn't have this competitive mindset of filming a video part or anything. It was really the early stages of like, I'm snowboarding because I love it.
Right.
And I'm going out filming, and I have this urge of getting me a video part, but it wasn't like, I didn't have any pressure. No one was like, you have to have a video part, because
right.
I wasn't really making any money.
Right.
I was like not a really known snowboarder at the time.
Yeah.
And so I got a video part, and Mike was like, dude, this kid is really good. We should put him on the team. And so they put me on a forum, because it was like a natural step.
Right.
I was like, Silence might go out of business.
Right.
They're barely paying me any money, and all of a sudden I'm gonna make some money and
yeah.
go ride for these guys. But I feel like it changed my snowboarding immediately. It was like very competitive. It was supposed to be this team, but it was like everyone was like trying to be better than the other one. It wasn't a team effort. When you go like someone lands the trick, it wasn't like, yeah, right on there be like, fuck, I can't believe you landed it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, man, this sucks.
Yeah. And I feel like too, it's so serious. Like,
well, it got super serious,
so
and it was
serious.
like, you know, the whole marketing of Super 8 and like Forum 8 and all that, and it was like, it was cool. I'm happy I was part of it,
right.
and it helped my career,
yeah.
and I'm thankful for that. But I felt like it was time for me to move on.
Yeah.
And I also was gonna have a daughter, so I had the pressure of like, hey, I actually need to figure out like, what's my future gonna look like?
Right.
I didn't see a future for him. I just felt like it was like one of those things that you just have to be better than the other person constantly, and it wasn't so much of a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel like I belonged in that team.
Yeah.
I felt much more like on my own world.
Yeah.
From the other guys, and I like all those guys, but it was just like,
well, it was the most competitive team.
Yeah.
There is, or there was, you know.
So K2 offered me a good setup, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I remember going back to forum and be like, hey, this is what I got from K2, like, what do you guys want to do? And they were like, first like, oh, well, we'll let's offer you something, and then they're like, I think they got scared, because if they're gonna pay me that, then they're gonna have to give the next guy, and they're like, I don't think it was like the company hadn't taken off yet. They're like, sure, media-wise, but financially, you know what I mean? It takes years for a company to start making money, if they're gonna make money.
Yep.
And you're putting so much money in marketing,
yep.
and I don't know.
Yeah.
So.
And then how many years did you ride for K2?
Like 11 or 12 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What year would you say you officially kind of like really like kind of hung up the board or retired?
2009.
2009. Okay.
I mean, 2010 I still was filming a video part.
Yeah.
But I think my mind wasn't really in it.
Yeah.
Like I was like doing it because I was getting paid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't getting paid a lot of money, but I was getting paid some money.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a retirement plan.
Yep.
So I told all my sponsors that I wanted to be done. I didn't want to be in the spotlight anymore, and I wanted to open a coffee shop and just be done.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? And I think it actually made some of my team members really happy.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to tell me like, no.
Yeah. They didn't have to be the one.
They didn't have to be the
like,
one.
You're done.
Yeah. So I think in that case, it was kind of a relief for them.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah.
So, but you know, the day when you actually stop getting paid 100% for snowboarding, it was pretty tough.
Yeah.
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 Because you've gotten paid good salary all these years, and you got used to this lifestyle.
Yeah.
You travel everywhere. Every person you meet is like excited to see you.
Yeah.
You have it's always good conditions because you're always chasing the snow.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like you're paying for lift tickets.
Yeah.
You're not getting paid for it anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just have to watch what you spend, because you can't, you know, I had to change my lifestyle.
Yeah.
It was like, I would say it was like a year of depression of figuring out how to get back into like you know, normal life.
Yeah, yeah. I think that happens obviously to a lot of pros who retire, and it's like you always think like, oh, I'll figure out that next move, like, because I feel like people think like it'll just come to me, or people will just come and like hire me or something. But I think when, yeah, it's like that day happens where you're like, I make no money from snowboarding, and now I have no income at all. I have to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I think it's any professional athlete.
Right.
You don't think about it because you're like, oh, it starts at a young age,
Yeah.
and you feel invincible.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, it's gonna be like this forever.
Right.
But it's like nothing is forever.
Right.
And it's I mean, luckily, I think for me it was good because I had such a huge passion going into coffee. So I was like, I could take my energy from snowboarding and put it into coffee.
Yeah.
And that was like shifting that thing around. And I think that's important to find something that you really want to do or what it is and be really passionate about it, because end of the day, you know, like it doesn't matter, you know, you're just here to enjoy or whatever your life motto is, but it's about having a good time and being able to enjoy your job, whatever it is you're doing, and be passionate about it. I see people trying to stay in the snowboard industry. I mean, you seem like you're enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's good that you get to stay involved in doing something, but I just wanted to get out of the whole industry. I was like burnt out. I was done.
Yeah.
Didn't want to have anything to do with any company or any photo shoot or anything.
Yeah, yeah. And now you've built up, you know, a pretty amazing brand here. Yeah, so I don't know, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you actually first got into coffee?
You know, just drinking coffee at home and tasting it and being like, oh, okay, this is pretty good, whatever. I actually didn't have my first cup until I was 18, before I had my driver's test. I needed to stay awake, and yeah, after that, you know, I had a coffee in Sweden here or there, and then I was interested in why it tasted a certain way.
Yep.
And I got more and more into it, and I moved to Portland, and there's like, you know, 50 or 60 roasteries here. So slowly I got more interested in, why does coffee taste this way, or why does that coffee taste that way? And I sort of have an obsessive personality in a way of like, I get really into something and I get really into it. So I got really into coffee, and I don't know, that's how I got here.
One question I had was, do people just open up a coffee shop without opening up a roastery as well? Or
yeah. So it's like,
because a roastery is like a whole separate thing.
Yeah. So originally I was gonna have just a coffee shop, and I was super into working on bikes.
Okay.
So I wanted to have a section where I worked on bikes and then make coffee for people. And then I realized that it probably wasn't going to be that great because I was going to focus on bikes and then coffee. So I was like, maybe I should pick one.
Yeah.
And, you know, I tasted a lot of different coffees, and I was like, I wonder which roastery I want to use. And then slowly I was like, well, maybe I want to roast my own coffee. Like, I don't know if I like this coffee that I'm tasting here, and it changes every week. It's not really consistent. And then, so I bought a small roaster, and I started roasting in my basement, like, you know, every week. And I would bring them like different film trips, have coffee with me, and be like, hey, what do you think of this? And I don't know, it just became this like crazy hobby.
Yeah.
And
around what year was that?
That was like 2008.
Okay.
And that wasn't really like that wasn't supposed to open a cafe back then. That wasn't like the idea.
Right.
Kind of slowly just got really, really into it. Like, oh, shit. Like, maybe I should do something with this. I don't know.
No way. All right. Well, let's do a little tour of the actual roastery. This first room you were just explaining is
what? So this is where we train all our wholesale accounts.
Yeah.
This is Chris. He's actually
hey.
one of our trainers.
All right.
So this is where we train all the wholesale accounts how to make coffee.
Okay.
And also show them how the equipment works.
Did you say wholesale accounts?
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
So, you know, different restaurants or cafes that are using our coffee.
Oh, okay.
So they buy the beans from us.
Yep.
And then they make the coffee.
Okay. So then you show them like the technique and.
Yeah. So we kind of like, you know, guide them through like, hey, how do you make the best possible coffee with our product?
Oh, cool.
So every roastery is going to be slightly different. The product's going to, you know, we buy different raw materials.
Okay.
They might behave a little bit differently.
Yep.
And we all have like our preferences on equipment and what we use.
Right.
So we want to kind of like give our knowledge to them. So then hopefully the coffee will taste good and it'll look us look better.
Yeah, make the coffee taste how it should taste.
Yeah, and then like, you know, that's how we kind of grow the business. It's like if someone has a good cup of coffee there and they're like, oh, that was from Heart. Oh, okay. And then they go on our website and they buy the coffee.
Okay, perfect.
So it's, you know, educating people. This is kind of the room where we educate people that are going to buy the coffee from us. Also, we do public cupping and public home brewing classes once a month.
Oh, cool.
So if you're like, oh, I want to learn how to make better coffee at home, you don't need to have crazy equipment. You can come here and we can show you how to make coffee with your home equipment.
Awesome.
And so that'll be Chris who does it also.
Okay. And so when we walked in, all these cups were here. Is this like coffee tasting or?
Yeah. So this was for a wholesale account. They came in and they wanted to taste our whole menu because maybe they only buy 1 or 2 coffees from us.
Right.
And they want to see what's on the menu right now besides those 2 coffees.
Okay.
And also learn a little bit more because so they taste it here and they might be brewing it differently in the shop and they're like, well, it tastes this way here.
Oh.
And we're like, well,
wow,
you might be using too much coffee or you might be grinding too fine or too coarse or whatever.
Whoa.
Different
That
reasons.
is crazy.
So it's just kind of like calibrating, being like, okay, this is what this coffee actually kind of should taste like.
Right. Yeah. Whoa, that's so much more technical than I thought. Okay, let's go check out this tour. We can just go straight in. Apparently, coffee roasters just listen to death metal all day long.
So this is where all our packaging is.
Okay.
And everything comes from there. Back, they, you know, I'll show you guys later, but the green comes in, roasted and packaged, and everything gets shipped out that way.
Okay.
So if you order coffee, let's say Thursday morning, it goes in our website. These guys will come in Friday morning, they see their order, they roast the coffee, these guys package it, and it goes out Friday. So as long as you do it before noon, it'll go out the next day. And so you get really fresh product from us.
Wow.
Shipped to anywhere in the US or in the world if you want to pay for the shipping.
Wow. Yeah. Whoa.
So we use these old German roasters. This one is actually it's from 1953. And we've modified this machine and put things in it to work the way you want it to. So it's kind of like, it's like, you know, like an old hot rod car, but with a new engine and so on.
Right.
What's special about them is all like the cast iron, the iron they used back then, and the carbon steel for the drums. They don't have that material anymore, and it's not as good.
Yeah, sure.
So, you know, this is not how the original roaster looked like. There used to be belts here, and now we've installed direct drive motors and different burners, but it kind of looks similar to what it did in the 50s.
Yeah.
And same thing with this big roaster. It's also from like early 60s.
Yeah.
And same thing, it's like the whole...
So how do you go about buying something like of this size? Was it already here? Did you have it shipped in? Or
we had it shipped. So this has been the biggest nightmare.
Right.
This was like a almost 2-year project now. So I decided about 2 years to buy it, put the down payment. You know, it takes them a while to refurbish the machine.
Yeah.
And you know, things that they say take delay time and whatever it is. The roaster showed up here in October.
Yeah.
And we just got it running 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
So, you know, they said they fixed things, but there's like motors that weren't working, and there's just like endless list of things that weren't fixed really.
Right.
And basically got screwed on the deal.
That is gnarly.
But
it's worth it.
Now I learned a lot about roasters.
Right.
And how they work.
Yeah.
And how to work on them. So in the end, I hate the whole experience, but I come out of it like knowing more about them.
Yeah.
And if something does go wrong, I know who to contact, which guys to be like, hey, I need to get this fixed, or I need this motor, I need this part.
Right.
I can locally find those guys here who can actually help me out.
Okay.
And they're not like coffee roasting specialty guys. They're just like motorheads.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
mechanics who know how to work on
Anything.
Yeah.
Or just, yeah.
This is all what it looks like when it comes in the raw form. This is what coffee looks like.
Whoa.
It's green before it's roasted. It's called green coffee. This is
Feels cool.
This is actually, so these are seeds, and they're inside of a cherry, like that, and it's actually like a fruit.
Right.
And you know, it gets processed, and this is how it shows up to us, and that's what we roast.
Whoa. And then, so they're originally this color, and then after you roast them, that's when they become brown?
Yep.
Okay.
So depending on how much you roast them and so on, so like if you want it really, really black, then you really burnt the crap out of them.
Whoa. So, and these are considered a seed? Or no?
Yeah.
A seed, okay.
Yeah. And there's two of them sitting beside.
Or
so
no,
like
wait, is it a bean?
no, it's a seed.
It is?
Yeah.
Because like if you plant that, you can grow a coffee plant? Or maybe not?
Maybe you could possibly.
Yeah.
But since they've been in this stage for a while.
Oh, right.
So they come, if you have them in parchment.
Yeah.
So you take this out of the coffee cherry.
Yeah.
And there's a parchment that's kind of protecting this.
Yeah.
And that's how the coffee gets dried on patios and so on. And if you take that off,
Yeah.
then it's more volatile, and it probably you might be able to grow something. I don't know.
Right.
People
Okay.
do it. People try. Hold on one second. Hey, Chris.
All right.
Okay, they're good.
Cool,
So basically, you know, different bags, different countries. Ethiopian coffee comes in 130-pound bags. Colombian coffee bags come in 154-pound bags. So,
Do you ever get the Colombian bags of coffee and then you open it up and there's a couple kilos of coke in
totally.
there?
I
He's like, then we take the Friday off.
I mean, actually, that is the biggest logistical nightmare because of Colombia. Because
Right.
when we ship coffee from there, we have to have like X amount accounted for it, because the customs will open and puncture a lot of bags,
And just
so
ruin it.
we have to have you count for that. So we're gonna lose some coffee
Right.
in the shipment.
Like if you need 50 bags, you have to order 57 bags. Because
Pretty
you know
much, yeah.
7 are going to get ripped apart.
Yeah. So
Whoa.
we always have to count for that how much they're gonna tear into and how much they're gonna look into all
Gnarly.
the boxes. And so now we start getting everything in back boxes from Colombia. So, but they still tear into them. And,
Yeah.
And what sucks is once you break the vacuum, and then it's
Really?
yeah. So then
Oh, man.
you just have to like replace it with another box. And so they already have same lots, and they all have like extra replacements for them. So
Yeah.
once they do that, they can just replace them.
Okay.
It's a little tricky. I don't even know how much I'm supposed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like U.S. Customs.
Yeah. But you know, they agricultural customs. The thing is, like, I think back in the day, maybe they tried shipping drugs that way, but I don't think it's a very
Yeah.
good way.
Yeah. Anymore.